Hey guys, welcome back to another Transparent Couch. I'm Cody.
And I'm Tam, and here on the Transparent Couch, it's not about where you're sitting,
but who's sitting with you.
Well, we did that flawless this time. It's been a minute since we've done.
And y'all, that was the first take.
That was the first take.
And it's been
forever. For the first time in forever.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
All right, y'all. So we have actually done this story on my channel, Laugh and Grow with Tam, maybe like 4 years ago. It was during the pandemic. I'll tell you that much.
Something like that.
Which seems so far away, yet so close. Like, crazy.
But 2020, 2021-ish.
Was around the time.
Like, with those 2020, 21, and 22 feel like a 10-year period.
It does. It really does.
A lot happened, but yeah.
But yeah, we've done this story actually before. It's been a while. Even my newer subscribers have not seen that story. We get questions all the time, like, how did y'all meet? What's y'all's origin story? And so, because it's the month of love and, this past weekend was Valentine's Day, we decided to share our story and specifically talk about what it's like being an interracial couple in the South. We have people that are curious about that as well. So let's chat about it. So do you want to start off or you want me to?
I want you to start off. You're a better storyteller.
He's trying to see what direction I'm going in.
Right.
That's what he's doing.
100%.
I know you. Okay. So from my take, the first time I ever saw Cody was when I was visiting the church that we are members of now, going on 16 years. Wow. Forever.
Well, yeah, March will be 16 years for me. Yeah.
I saw him. Cody used to do gospel rap. Him and one of his best friends at the time.
That's funny.
They were ministering at church. And I remember thinking, who is this little white boy up on the stage? Like, literally. I was like, okay.
Jumping all over the place. I was so hyped.
All over the place. Bandana, scarf on with skinny jeans. Cringe. But that was my first time ever seeing him, and I didn't think much of it.
No.
Then my next time seeing him again was like officially seeing him, because I'd seen him like in church. He was literally the only white person in the choir, and he would literally jump 10 feet in the air during praise and worship. But I saw him again when I decided to join the choir, and Cody was on the praise team. At that time, our choir we had a praise team that sang on the front row, and then the rows behind was the choir. So the praise team were the ones that was on the mic. Cody was on the mic. And I had just joined, so I was just kind of getting my bearings, just kind of feeling things out or whatever.
Yep.
And I remember seeing him and not really thinking much of him. He was talking to our friend Norman, who is, if y'all follow me, y'all know my best friend Anna is her husband. Him and Cody are best friends. So they were talking at the time. Y'all weren't necessarily best friends. Y'all were just real cool. But,
right.
Yeah, it was just real cool. But they were talking, and I just saw him lean over talking to him, and I didn't think much of it. And, so I'll stop there to let you tell your version of how that happened, and then I'll continue.
So, waiting on choir rehearsal to start, I was standing over there standing over by the drums because the friend that she mentioned was my best friend at the time. He played drums at the church. So I was sitting over there standing over there with him talking about something, and she walked in the door. We always laugh about this, but she walked through the door, and I was like, dang, she bad. But I ain't think nothing of it because my confidence was shot. And if our relationship, y'all will hear later, was contingent on us talking, like me going up to her in person, we probably wouldn't be together right now. But yeah, that's seeing her at choir rehearsal. That was my first thought anyway.
It's hilarious every time because when I tell you I was in La La Land, had no idea that was.
And it's not like you were super dressed up or nothing either. You just coming to choir rehearsal.
I had on jeans. I remember what shirt I had on because I used to wear that shirt all the time. But I had on jeans, and it was a white and like teal colored striped shirt. It had a little tie on the side. And I think I had my hair up in a little something with a little scarf. I used to wear that little outfit all the time. And so that's how that happened.
Yeah.
And I remember getting on Facebook, and at the time, you know, Facebook still had the suggested friends. I think it was a different way, but it would pop up and be like, you know, and so I just started adding people that I recognized from the ministry. Of course, I recognized him. Why? Because he was the only white person in the choir.
Stood out.
And would literally be jumping, like I said, 10 feet in the air. So I clicked on his profile, added him, and I added your best friend. I added multiple people and just kept it moving. Didn't think nothing of it.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to build, like, at the time I wasn't using the word build community. You know, that's just such a buzzword now. But like, I want to like make friends with people and get to know people in this church, because our church had a huge membership, and it was just a lot of people. And coming from a smaller church growing up, that was intimidating for me. So I was like, I know I got to find my people. And while my friends were in the choir, all of us from our college, we were in a college choir there. We just kind of morphed over to the church and ended up being on the choir at the church. And so, like I said, I was friends with Norman already. My friend Takara was in the choir. A few people I had already recognized. So I kind of had a community, but like, I was still trying to get to know people.
Right.
And so about a week after I sent Cody the friend request, this is when Facebook still had I get a boop message.
It wasn't DM yet. It was chat, and it was, you want to see. I remember that. It was so
online,
cool.
You want to click on them and start talking to them.
Start talking to them. Yeah.
It's kind of like instant message from like AOL.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I actually miss
yes,
I miss that actually. Yeah. Versus sending you a message like I'm texting you.
And then it would tell you so and so is typing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I just burped because it stinks.
I don't smell anything.
Great.
Yeah.
I remember Cody popping up and was like, hey. And I was like, okay, hey, you know, and we just started talking.
I was gonna say, don't ask me what I said to start off, because I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't remember what he said, but hey, didn't I see you at church or something like that? It was something like that. And I was like, yeah. So we just got to talking, and he was really, really cool. I thought he was cool. And he invited me to go skating with him, and I thought that was lame. Because at the time where I grew up, skating had become lame because like nobody was really going to skate. But the type of skating Cody was doing, he was skating with like adults, like they were doing like the, you know, like legit skating. I had never heard of that.
Like
so
roll bounce type, like.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. He was like, no, it's not what you think. And he was like, you should definitely come one time. And I was like, well, I'll give it a try. And I think, Cody asked me for my number. We exchanged numbers, and I texted him as soon as he sent me his so he could lock me in. He took it as, what did you take it as? You don't remember what you used to say?
No, I didn't.
You used to say, oh, that's how I knew she wanted me. Or he was like, that you had the green light after that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be at least open. You know what I mean? Because at that time, again, I didn't have the confidence. So for me to ask, I think it was actually, I think I remember this correctly. It was around the skating conversation. I was like, hey, yeah, just, shoot me your number. That way I can let you know, the next time we go.
That's exactly what you said. And I texted my number. Once again, just like, oh, okay, I sent him my number.
No hesitation. It's not like she was playing hard to get, because now looking back, you weren't playing nothing. You was just having a conversation. So
Cody was like, oh, dang, that was fast. I was like, yeah, so you could save my number. And from there, it moved from instant message to text message.
Yeah. And it was every day.
Every day we were texting, and we had our first phone call, and our very first phone call was about God. And I knew then something in me was like, this might be more than what I think it is. But at the time, I told Cody, I was like, I'm talking to multiple people. I'm not really interested in a relationship. I'm really trying to focus on school. I'm cool with us being friends.
I was so upset.
And, but he was like, that's fine. I understand, but our very first conversation was about God.
That was a lie though. I didn't understand. I was mad. But anyway.
I wanted to be upfront, because at the time when I met Cody, I was in some situationships with some guys, and at the time, like, they didn't know what they had in their possession. they didn't know. They didn't know the value of who I was. They just,
Really, probably looking back, they didn't know who they were.
No, for real, for sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of them expressed that regret when me and Cody got together, but too late. That'll be mine. Yeah, I'm interested to know how you got to the point where you decided to send me a message on Facebook.
I really don't remember, but it probably goes back to, I thought she was bad. I told y'all that already. And I guess in my head, not her adding me made me think she was interested, because I'm like, you just added me. But at least her adding me made me believe that she would be at least open to a conversation. So that's why it really wasn't any hesitation when I sent the message. I didn't know if she was going to respond, but there really wasn't any hesitation, because I'm like, if you added me, then at least you're open to a, hey, how are you conversation. And then if we actually have one from there, then it goes from there. But if it doesn't, hey, type deal. Because I was never one of the ones that would, for lack of better words, make the first move if I didn't at least think there was at least some interest there. So to at least believe she was open to a conversation, I was like, oh, I can say hey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so after that, Cody and I talked consistently for months. Mm-hmm. And I kept telling him, I'm just trying to focus on school. I don't want to be in a relationship. Yeah. At that point, I did realize that I did like Cody. And there's so many nuances. We can kind of do separate videos about. Yeah, we can do a whole series. We can do a series, and I think we should do a story time to talk about just the different little things that happen. We're just giving y'all an overview.
And the funny thing is, we can do a whole series about just our dating journey.
Oh, absolutely.
And we've been married way longer than we dated, but it's a whole.
That's a whole thing. No, we really could do a series. Yeah, I think we should do that. I think we need to remember that we said this and actually do a series, a story time.
We really could, yeah.
But anyway, so story time. Let me be quiet.
Yeah, because no,
they did that poor lady wrong.
Okay,
anyway. So we really got to talking, and just to give you a little back history, before we really got deep into talking, there was a situation where Cody was talking to another girl, but I kept turning him down, so he got in a relationship with another girl. Also me, it was another situation.
The story is quite
There's so
hilarious.
many different stories. I was talking to someone that I had dated off and on since high school, and we were on a trip together, and the whole time I was texting Cody because I was bored out of my mind. We were literally at the beach together, and I was just like, I can't do this. So I'm texting Cody, and he's like, dang, she with another guy. Why she texting me? It's a whole situation. So we're going to do a little story time. We got so many ratchet stories.
We really do.
But anyway, so November of 2010 we met February of 2010. Mm-hmm. November of 2010 was when we decided to officially become a couple. And
it was when she decided to jump her own timeline.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget where I was at. So I was living with my grandma, and we had a Walmart that was really right outside the neighborhood. I used to walk to it all the time when I was bored and nothing to do. And I was in the parking lot. It used to have a Hobby Lobby in it. And I was in the Hobby Lobby parking lot when she called me. It was like, hey, you're my boyfriend, right? I said, huh? I said, yeah, in January when you're done with your schoolwork. She was like, no, like now. I was like, oh, okay, sure. I was so excited, but I was trying not to show my excitement. Because even though I did respect the fact that when she said, I don't want to date right now. So I never really tried to push the issue, but in my head, I was like, I'm not going nowhere type deal,
Yeah, so we officially started dating. Cody met my parents. They loved him. Cody helped me move. This was actually, you met my parents before we started dating.
Yep. Yep.
because you helped me move from my dorm into an apartment.
Yep.
There was another guy there who had a huge crush on me, and I wasn't studying him. But they both helped move, and my daddy was like trying to figure out like, what? You got all these boys liking you? I'm like, Daddy, I'm just doing me. But my dad and my mom loved Cody. The baby's awake.
You come, Daddy?
You can keep all of that in there, baby, because it's just a part of life.
Oh yeah. You come, Dad?
I was gonna hold him, but if you want to get him,
I do. Careful.
oh, hey, Papa.
You didn't fall like me.
Hey, Papa.
Come on, baby. You come, Dad? I know. Say, I fell asleep on Daddy and I woke up in a bed.
Excuse me, but anyway. So, this is Kylan. If you guys are new to our channel, this is our youngest son. We have 3 boys. This is Kylan. He's 1.
Mm-hmm.
He's a sweet boy.
He is a sweetie pie.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, we started dating, and then yeah, it got pretty serious. We broke up for a little piece of time. That's a whole other series.
We went on a break.
Yeah, for about 6 months, and then shortly after we got back together, Cody proposed. So we have so many series. I'm excited about this series. This is going to be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to kind of the other point, because like I said, we can really go on and on and on about our origin story. I'll say this. We have had people ask us questions. We have other interracial couples that have reached out and say, oh my gosh, like I love this, this, and this. To be honest, I think being in the South, you kind of already know, when you grow up here, you already kind of know the nuances of racism and the nuances of just ideologies that we don't necessarily agree with. And so, we talk about this all the time, and we've said this before. Cody grew up around Black people. Him and his mom were literally the only white people at his church growing up. Am I lying?
No.
Cody grew up in a Pentecostal holiness church. Unless he was with his grandparents, and then they were going to Southern Baptist churches.
Well, yeah. Assembly of God too.
Assembly of God, yeah. But I mean, it almost makes sense that Cody ended up with a Black woman, because that's all he really saw. Like, that's really all he, was really accustomed to. Like, some of his first crushes were little black girls. So, this is kind of, and for me, I don't think I ever thought that I would marry outside of my race, because I just never thought that would be a possibility. And probably is because of being raised in the South. You did see interracial, because as a matter of fact, I have interracial family. Some of my family members had children outside of their race. So it wasn't uncommon.
Yeah.
But I never thought that I would, because first of all, I never thought that anybody outside of my race would even find me attractive or want to be with me, because of that Southern mentality. And then also because that's all I know. All I knew was Black men. So to meet Cody in the midst of a predominantly Black congregation, it kind of like a light bulb went off, like, like, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? But still never like thinking like, oh, this is going to be my husband. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when we began dating, it still never registered me that this could actually be my husband, and that we would actually like pursue each other in a way that we would be married and have children together. I think now, this is a learning curve for the both of us, because we are raising interracial children and trying to teach them different things about their culture and about who they are, especially our older boys, because they have questions now. And we don't want to make the mistake of making them feel that they have to be one way or another.
Right.
We want them to be exactly who they are. I have explained to my boys that because their mother is Black, the world sees them as African American, or that's kind of the predominant race. I don't know what the lingo and the language is around that now. But I have explained that to my boys. You know, we've also explained to them that we always say you're not either, you're Black and you're white, you're both. And that's just the truth of it all. And I'm interested to know any other interracial couples, what they're teaching their kids too. We're big on teaching our kids about their history. And that's important to us. Yeah. And so being in an interracial relationship, I think has been a beautiful experience. We have our moments. We have to navigate through certain things, certain topics that can be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And yes, we get stares. But nobody has ever been bold enough to just flat out say anything rude to us. Most of the time, we get compliments on how beautiful our family is. Sometimes they can be a little cringe because it's almost like, what are you trying to say? Yeah. Like, it's almost like we're just a family. You know, some people you can tell that they're just trying to show their support of our relationship, so they feel like they need to say something. Some people that just genuinely saying, "Oh, I love y'all. Y'all just such a beautiful couple," and they keep it moving.
Some people are so confused; they feel like they have to say something, and it's like you could have kept that to yourself.
It's really okay. I promise you.
And don't get me wrong; they'll say a compliment, but it's like I can tell you don't do this often. Like, this is really weird.
The one that really cracks me up the most is when they comment on the kids' hair. Their hair is so pretty. It's just, oh, you know, look at their hair. And it's just what? Like, okay, I get it. But it's also kind of like, all right. To me, it makes me feel a little awkward. Yeah. Because there is that stigma. You hear this thing, and it is such an ugly stigma. But it is some truth to it. You do have some women who think like this, which I think is just crazy. But certain women will say things like, oh, I want to marry a white man so my kids can have pretty hair. And it's just like, that is such a dumb statement. I hate that. And a lot of times there's a stigma with Black women that they marry white because they want their kids to look a certain way, or that they're ashamed of their race. Baby, let me tell you something. I'm blackity black. Okay. Don't forget that. And I have to tell people that too. I used to didn't feel like I needed to defend that, but now in these present times, just being completely honest, I feel like I do. I have to tell people like, yeah, I love my husband. Two things can be true at the same time. I can love my husband, who is a white male, and also love who I am. I'm not ashamed of who I am. Never will be. In the conversations we have with our children, I let them know about their history and who they are. Yeah. And so, and vice versa, we have these conversations with our kids. So I know I did a little whole spiel, but you know, yeah. No,
I just like, it's fairly nuanced. Like, we had a conversation with a fellow interracial couple of ours on Zoom or however many, I don't know how long ago that was. But Tam had to step away, and I forget why she stepped away, but they asked, you know, how did I feel like being in this relationship? And it's really weird coming from me because this feels normal. Because like Tam mentioned earlier, because of how I was raised, this feels normal. This doesn't feel abnormal. As a matter of fact, we joke about it all the time. Tam has said, I like being in diverse places. Like, I don't want to be in a place where there's there's a majority of one type of race or whatever. And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable in a room full of white people. Like, I feel comfortable in a room full of Black people. It feels like home to me. So it's just also interesting trying to navigate it, because this isn't how do I say this? I'm trying to tiptoe the line graciously.
Yeah, got to, because this you say one thing, you get canceled.
But this isn't the normal white man, Black woman relationship of a white man that was raised in his white family around his white friends and grew up that way. Like, I didn't have that upbringing. So there's certain things that,
come on, what you need?
But there's,
you sleep?
Yeah, you went back to sleep.
Okay,
we'll get him up, Bubba. But there's certain things that Tam would have to clue I hate to say the regular white person in on when it comes to the culture that she might not necessarily have to clue me in on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And again, just to continue to tiptoe the line, that doesn't mean I understand what it's like to be black. I don't. I'm not black. I'm white. But it just means I have it means
You're very white.
It just means my upbringing was a little different than the traditional,
Southern white person. Let me say that.
Yeah.
We had friends. At one point in our life, we had multiple couples who were interracial that were here, and they all came from different areas.
Yeah.
And they told us, they was like, interracial couple is not a thing where we're from. Like, nobody says that. Like, people are just nobody emphasizes the fact that we're an interracial couple. They were like, when we got here to the South, it was so weird for us. It was like, why are people calling us an interracial couple? We're just a couple.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I used to feel self-conscious about bringing that up. But here in the South, that's what's said here in the South. You're an interracial couple.
Yeah.
And it is a thing because we do get stares and we do have people looking at us. We get used to it. As long as nobody don't jump stupid, we good. Try it if you want to. But other than that, we get a lot of support, but we have moments where we're out and people will just give us the nastiest looks. They won't speak back, but that's few and far in between. And honestly, we don't let it get to us. We will have people sit and just stare at us. We're in a restaurant and they're just like, you have some people staring almost like in awe, and you have some people just staring in disgust. But I'm going to continue to enjoy my food. I mean,
and I'm gonna have a good time and call it a day. Yeah.
So, anyway, we could go on and on and on about that, but we just wanted to touch on that. And yeah, we've had people try to come for us in the comment section in the past when we were posting a lot of couples things on our page. But we're not going to let that shy us away from talking about these things. It is what it is. And that's that on that. So.
Yep. And never mind.
Yeah. He's about to get on the soapbox.
No, I was just going to say, for anybody that wants to jump in the comments and attack and act like, well, this is why racism is still a thing, because you still talk about it and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, just because you have a different outlook on the world and think it's a post-racial society, which is what I want it to be. That would be nice if we could care less about the color of other people's skin. That's not the full reality. That's not as what we are, unfortunately. Is it better than the 1960s? Yeah. Is it better than before that? Yeah. But are we over it yet? No. So before you jump into the comments, just know, I want you to know anyway. I appreciate your optimism, but we're not there yet. So anyway,
there's that. But we're going to continue to show the love of Christ.
100%.
That's what we do here. We represent God. If you're new here, we are believers. We believe in Jesus Christ. And we're going to continue to show the love. Even when people try to be ugly in the comment sections, either you get deleted or our subscribers will get to you before we can.
Right. So, that's a fact.
But other than that, it is what it is. Do we pray for a nation, a world that loves everybody, no matter what their background is? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, we have just not gotten to that point.
Not yet.
And so we're going to continue to pray for that. But until then, we're going to live our life. We're going to live our life. So anyway, that is our origin story. That is our love story. We really could have gone so much further, but we would be here for 3 hours. There's literally so much we could talk about. So if you're new here, if you're returning, please join us for our love story series as we talk to you guys about some of the crazy things that has happened over the past 13, 14 years. 14?
15.
15? Yeah. Oh my God. 15 years. So we love you guys. Thank you guys for joining us here on the Transparent Couch. And like always, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.